So, round 5 selection reactions. Can Wales get the job done right here and now? So let's start with the match that really matters, France and Wales. Only these two can win the Six Nations now. And the good news is, selection-wise, it's pretty straightforward. Both teams are fully stacked. I mean, France, I think they're pretty much exactly the same as last time round. Absolutely packed with absolute quality. Marchand's been amazing. Cretin, Ollivon and Aldrit are just an amazing back row. They'll certainly want to make up for last week against England, where they just didn't quite do enough. They certainly produced some absolute excellence, but maybe not the consistency they would have wanted. Dupont will want to get his own back as well, making that mistake towards the end just to knock it on. But there's been some amazing performances with, say, Jalabert taking over from Intermac, who's still on the bench. That's impressive. And really their best backline almost, maybe bar 15, with Fiku Vakatar in the centre and the very dangerous Penaud and Teddy Thomas on the wings. Wales, in response, have gone very, very solid. They're very established now, really. The only change in the second row, which is voluntary, really, Beard's back available. Clearly, he's their first choice, or one of their first choice second rows with Alun Wyn-Jones. Hill probably gives you a little bit more around the pitch, but I can see why they went for Beard. That size, the height, that annoyance factor, the physicality, it makes sense, especially against France. Fully stacked in the back row. We know they can't do any better than Navidi, Tipuric and Faletau. Interesting at 9, though. Many of you guys in the comments thought that maybe if Thomas Williams was fit, which he is, maybe he should go straight back in. They're stuck with Gareth Davis. I think that's probably the right call. Thomas Williams coming back from a hamstring injury. Do you want to start him? Plus, he's absolutely electric off the bench anyway. And it's going to be a last-minute push for Thomas Williams for the Lions. I said at the beginning of the whole thing that I think Thomas Williams was probably my favourite to be the Lions scrum half, but that injury 10 minutes into the Six Nations was an absolute killer. Maybe he'll get a bit of time at the end of this game to make that last push for Lion selection, even though I know the game is all about the Six Nations here. Okay, at 10, Dan Biggar, absolutely keeping Sheedy on the bench. In the centres, they're sticking with Jonathan Davis at 12. Now, I'm just going to be watching his speed, his agility. He definitely played well against Italy last time, but he's not looking as quick as he was before his injury. It's going to be a 50-50 for Lions call. If he does go, maybe it's going to be on reputation, and maybe that's not a bad thing, but I think I need to see a little bit more from him. What we've seen a lot from, though, is George North, Louis Rees-Zammit, absolutely amazing. So it's great. Head-to-head, France versus Wales. I mean, France are going to be favourites. They're at home. We know how well France can do. I mean, Wales have been playing great, but France at home, you're going to go with France as favourites. But there's many Wales can win this. Obviously, win the game, get the Grand Slam, but 2 points for a draw or 2 bonus points will win it straight away as well. But it could go down to that final game next week. Anyway, let me know what you think about those teams. I don't think they could have done any better, really. Right, on to Ireland versus England. Just going to the home team first, we can see there's a few changes in the Ireland team. Some I agree with, some maybe not. In the back three, we can see that Lowe's been dropped completely. That is something I had said probably should happen. In the back three, his defence hasn't been quite good enough. I'd actually dropped him from my team the previous week, but I think they've seen the writing on the wall there. He needs to go away to Leinster and work on that. The positive he has is he now has European Champions Cup games to do that, and with players away on Lions duty, maybe he'll get back into that Ireland team in the summer. But anyway, I think that's the right call, and they've gone for the big guy, Jacob Stockdale, coming back in. I was probably going to go Lama as like the next guy off the taxi rank, but they've gone for the combination is probably best, really, with the size of Stockdale, the all-round ability of Earls, and the silky smooth Keenan at fullback. In the centres, I didn't want them to move Henshaw out of 12 just because he's been doing so well there. We know he can play 13 great, but he's been playing so great at 12. I'm a bit surprised they put Bundyaki at 12. Bundyaki has played 13 before. There were other options at 13, so just maybe an unnecessary disruption for me, but still a very good backline. Capped off with Conor Murray, coming back in to start. As I said in my preview show and the selection, if he's fit, I think he should start. I just think he's a slightly better scrum half than Gibson Park. Into the pack, a little conservative in the front row, as I thought they might go with Herring. I was thinking, the tournament can't be won, so he might as well go Kelleher, but no, he's playing safe there. Kilcoyne gets a start. Him and Healy, I think, are pretty much interchangeable, so I don't see a problem with that at all. I don't think they'll lose anything there. Second row was the story, though. Losing James Ryan was a big blow. What were they going to do? I didn't want them to move Tyburn out of 6, but they have, and that just means everything shuffles around. Plus, there's an injury to Connors, so it really is all changed in the back 5 of the scrum, which I'm not sure is the best idea. I'd have probably put Baird in to the second row, but they've had to move Stander to 6 now. Van der Fleer comes into 7 and Conan starts. So it's a very good pack, but certainly disrupted. They haven't had that game time together. Let me know if that makes you a bit uneasy as an Ireland fan, as it does for me. Amani comes back on the bench, and Lamier stays on the bench instead of starting. On to the England side. Now, some interesting calls here. Some I'm okay with, some I probably would have done slightly differently, but a lot as I wanted. Max Malin stays at 15, which is great. The injury to Slade meant he couldn't start, so they had to decide what to do there. Now, a bit surprising that they've moved Daly to 13. Now, I don't have a problem with Daly playing 13 per se, because I think he's a really good 13 and probably a more natural 13 than is a 15, to be honest. So it's a very skillful backline. I'm actually quite excited to see Daly there. However, they've got Lawrence who can play 13. They've got Odogwu who can play 13. They've got Joe Marchant who can play 13. 3 young guys who probably would benefit more for starting this match. Six Nations is gone for England, so I just think they're missing a trick. I really hope those 3 get a chance in the summer with England, and this isn't a real thing they're going to regret. But I'm excited to see that back line, although again, the balance, as you know, is still not there. There is no power in this back line. There's loads of pace and skill, but, a Odogwu, someone like that, Lawrence, I think would have added a bit more. Anyway, let me know what you think of not using the 3 13s they actually have in the squad. Farrell stays at 12. Like I said, he played very well last time out for a couple of games. It's just, I feel he could do with a bit more punch outside him. Anyway, George Ford at 10, he's been playing great. Johnny May and Anthony Watson on the wings, of course. Ben Young staying at 9. No surprises there. Front row wise, really good news for me, I think. Cowan Dickey gets his start again. I think it's the right way to go. He deserves it. Not that Jamie George has been terrible, just I think Cowan Dickey's been better. So yeah, I like that. Vunipola, hopefully he's fully fit, as I've said. Sinclair's been playing great. As I selected, Yule stays at 5. Unsurprising, because he was actually almost perfect last time out against France. He's got a lot to live up to there. Staying with the back row as well, as I'd gone for. I just think it's a bit too much disruption putting Ben Early in. Plus, he probably hasn't done enough to force that anyway. On the bench, they're staying with Johnny Hill at second row replacement. Again, I just thought there might be an opportunity to play Ribbons. I think he's got a lot of ability, but we're not going to see him. But outside, apart from Dan Robson, we do have 2 young 13s on the bench, Ollie Lawrence and Joe Marchant. Be very interesting how they're used. Will Lawrence be put into 12? They do need a replacement for Farrell, so they can, or a backup to Farrell, I should say. Is Marchant there to cover 13? Probably covering the wing as well, but then he could come on to 13 and Daly move to the wing, which I think would probably be the better way round. But no Odogwu. So hopefully that doesn't bite England in the future. If you don't cap this guy, he could go and play for Italy, absolutely. Let me know what you think of that. Finally on to Scotland, and all changed for Scotland, partly due to injury, partly rotation, because they do have this extra match against France. A very tight turnaround. So front row, they've rotated Turner, I think, to give him a rest rather than dropped. Xander Fagerson comes back in, which is good timing. So he should be fresh and ready to go and get a good warm-up for the match again against France. We get Sam Skinner in the second row. Great. I really hope he has a good game. This could be a big plus for Scotland in this game against Italy, which is a bit of a hiding to nothing. You know, they should win, but if they win, then no one's really going to bat an eyelid sort of thing. But playing Skinner, if he has a good game, this could be a big plus. He partners Gilchrist, so a bit of rotation there. Definitely no rotation in their back row, though. They want Ritchie, Watson and Ferguson to keep going. Scott Steele, though, does get a start, so great news for him. He'll be absolutely thrilled he's playing 9 and not selected to play back row. That's pretty funny last week. Stuart Hogg comes in at 10. Now, I'm not saying he can't play 10, but he's never started there before. He's a very good player. I think he's a good 10, but that is harsh on Van der Vault on the bench, pretty much saying this guy who's never started at 10 for Scotland is better than you, who's a specialist 10. But, you know, Hogg's a good player, so I can see why, but still a little bit of a slap in the face for Van der Vault. In the centres, we get to see Hugh Jones, which is brilliant news. Deserves his shot, been looking super sharp and dangerous. And then a bit of a shuffle in the back line with Maitland swapping to 15 because Hogg's gone, and Graham and Van der Merwe on the wings. Should be far too much for Italy. Should get their bonus point. It's kind of irrelevant now because it doesn't affect the actual Six Nations. But there is something to be gained for trying these new players, and also, like I said, players playing for their line spots as well. They'll be hoping for no injuries, considering they've got that game against France coming soon. So guys, let me know what you think of the selections of all those teams, strengths, the weaknesses, what you might have done differently, and how you think the games are going to go. Really looking forward to round 5, and I will catch you after those games. So I'll see you later.